Oh, yours musty too? My shit's musty. I was gonna ask to smell it, but then I said, whoa, pause. I said, pause. Whoa, pause.
Hajime?
Wow, okay. 24 motherfucking episodes.
Wow.
We're 24 deep. Welcome to this week. We got Nyck, an unlikely guest, because we don't really talk about nigga shit that much.
For real.
And we brought a nigga over.
Yeah, we about to get really ignorant.
it's mainly because of the of the conversation we had like last week. Was it last week that I went to the studio?
Yeah,
it was just like we were waiting for Jay in the car before we went to the studio, and then we started talking about like a bunch of music shit. And I'm like, what? We could say fuck actors for an episode, and then just talk about shit that actors doesn't like. I mean, we could talk about old music too, because I'm pretty sure you're
I don't have anything to contribute. I don't listen to it.
I used to hate old music. I used to be a big old head hater, but like now I appreciate it.
Because he mainly listens. He mainly listens to like.
I listen to everything, just not trap music.
Yeah, basically.
See, like I go on waves of what I listen to. Like right now, I've been listening to a lot of Burna Boy, which is like Afro beats, and I listened to Bon Iver's album, beautiful album, I.
Nigga, it's Bon Iver.
I said Bon Iver.
Bitch, nigga.
I said Bon Iver, nigga.
That shit weird, huh? It's like good weird too. It's
Yo,
like
I listen like Hey Man and fucking what's it called? Or Hey Ma, and then there's the song after that, beautiful transition.
Man like?
Yeah,
Man like you.
Man, oh man.
Man like you. Nah, that shit was good.
Amazing transitions. It's not like his old shit, which I like. It's less electronically, more folky.
The album before was
the one was like a bunch of like numbers and shit like that.
It was a different thing than what he had done before too.
I don't know. I was introduced to him to obviously through Kanye and all that. So it's like,
yeah, same.
See, transitioning
Lost in the World.
Lost in the World. Probably I want it down played on my funeral. Like it's such a peaceful. No, it is. And then
so good.
The transition into Welcome Who Will Survive in America. Yo, that's some of the best. Like that shit touched my heart. I was like a young kid, like 2010, so that was like 9 years ago. So I was like, yo, like I'm really black.
Yeah.
And I really gotta appreciate being black, because like I'm a minority, even though like I'm half. You know what I mean? So it's like it was really targeted. Like, but yeah, I'm like I used to hate old music growing up. Like really dislike it. Like I have a lot of friends that are older than me, and they always talk about M and 50, and I was like, fuck those niggas. Like Rocky, Drake, Kendrick, and all every week there's a new rapper, and like I'm really like I've always been on to like, yo, like who's new, who's
new, yeah, what's next, what's coming.
I'm really that's like I like studying that shit. But like then I met my older brother, and he likes Styles P. He thinks Styles P is the greatest rapper of all time. You know, he's really into like that street shit. So like I started listening to like Wu-Tang and all them niggas, and like I've always like appreciated them, but like I found like I can listen to them on a regular day.
Yeah.
It's not about what's the latest. It's about art. What's the best? You know what I mean? What's the best for you?
And what's the latest comes from that.
Yeah, like, exactly. And the latest isn't always good. Yeah. Like I had this argument with my boy. It's like he's really saying that like old hip hop is better than today because they tried to push the boundaries. I say that the way hip hop's going now is like a plus sign. It's like there's some rappers that are trying to expand the spectrum in terms of creativity, in terms of like genre bending and flows.
We see niggas like Travis and Tyler do that.
They're trying to like horizontally like expand hip hop, and then there's niggas that are still trying to push it forward in terms of popularity, like the Kendricks and the Drakes that are like at the top of the game. And there are people that do both. Like for instance, for me, like Young Thug does both because like
Young Thug is
I love Doug. He had one of his best interviews last week. Like Doug is it's amazing.
I haven't heard the full album, but I heard Hot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because my cousin from like the States came, because there was like a wedding this weekend, like family like shit. And they came over, and then we were talking music because like we were catching up. I hadn't seen him like 5 years, and then we were catching. It's crazy, bro. When you like someone you knew your whole life, because like when I lived in Haiti, almost every summer I would go to we would go to the States to his house and then spend the summer there, and it's crazy like it's growing up with that person and then seeing him after a while like grown up.
I
with
know
voice
the feeling.
deep,
I know the feeling.
Nigga growing a goatee and shit.
Is he younger than you?
Yeah, he's just a year younger. But it's just like, he probably felt the same way about me too. But because we didn't even follow each other.
Oh, right.
we just now like started following each other on Instagram and shit.
That's kind of like me, Akris. Like me and Akris aren't like close or anything, but like I knew Akris when he was just a soccer player, just went to St. Pat's. He's like my friend's friends. Like he hung around with people like I knew, like, and now he's like doing clothes, you know, like all that shit. And it's like that's sick, you know.
Yeah.
Seeing him like design clothes, seeing him do pop-ups at like events, you know, like it's really sick. It's like it's like character development.
Yeah,
like,
you're just
like,
watching someo's like movie unfold.
Exactly. I personally I look at my life like a movie. Like, what am I gonna do today? I try to piece it into shit. So it's like when I see other people's character development, I'm like, yo, that's really sick. You know, like you would think like if I were to assume and be like stereotypical, I'd be like, yo, Akris gonna play soccer at university, then he might go overseas and play soccer there, and then come back and say, you know what I mean? But like he's really doing shit like exploring like his creativity and shit like that, and like, yo, that's sick to see, bro.
Nigga went left. Nigga just started making clothes.
Yeah, but what is left, really? You know what I mean?
Left is just like away from what you expect him to do.
Yeah.
Because
y'all talk about it a lot. It's like, yo, like people expect people to do shit all the time. You know what I mean? It's like shit's not predetermined. Like, for instance, like a nigga that's born in the hood, they expect him to either rob, steal, and then get arrested.
Yeah.
And then
start rapping.
Or start rapping. And then have so many cases that he can't get a good job and does construction his whole life. And then wishes his kid does better. And then the cycle just continues. Or doesn't even be involved in his kid's life.
And what do you see? That nigga starts to do, I don't know what he starts a tea company.
Exactly. Yo, exactly.
That's beautiful.
But that's
the
beautiful
shit.
You just got to support people going left. You know.
But
what I mean?
that kind of relates to the music thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's the like who predicted like hip hop to come up? Like who predicted that to be like invented? And it came at a time that wasn't really expected either.
You see, like when I understand why niggas didn't fuck with hip hop back then. Like in the 70s, 79 and all that. Disco's fucking fire. I love disco. I love funk. I love like
funk was cool, but disco felt like a transition.
It felt like forced.
Disco felt like the thing that was needed to transition from like rock being the most popular thing to hip hop starting up.
See, I'm a big fan of ABBA. I'm a big fan of like all those like disco bands.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's just like just growing up and like
felt corny, bro. Like it just
it is super corny, but it's super like it's more music to feel than to listen to. You know,
I feel like it's the music you enjoy a lot in like a club.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't know. Did I mention? I think I mentioned this with the No episode in episode 9. How I feel like trap
It's the equivalent of
is the equivalent of what disco is, because disco was like club shit.
Okay.
And
trap is like club shit.
Yeah, it was club shit. It's shit like you mainly listen to like at a club. Like that's when you feel it the most. That's when you get the most out of the experience. Or in a car, like loud, just loud.
Yeah, you can't play that
and then
shit
to
low.
to dance to it and all of that shit, and lots of one hit wonders.
No, yeah. But it's about like, it's the people that can go from that into really doing introspective shit that become great.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you not like about?
Yeah, what do you not like about trap?
It's just one. It all sounds the same, but like, what specifically like when you listen to it that just throws you out of it?
So for me, music or anything really is like a mantra, right? You're speaking to someone in a certain way, either it's like positive or negative. That's a mantra. You're saying that, you're putting it out into the world. So in the same sense, if you're eating music like that, it's a mantra that's going in your head all the time and it's consistent.
Okay.
So what's gonna happen? You're gonna align with that message, and that's gonna be drilled into your subconscious mind. So if you're having car, sex, money, all that drilled into your mind, like most of the day, I mean, I like trap music. I'll listen to like a few songs I actually like. My friends are blasting it. I'll bum my head, but I'll never download it on my phone just for that reason, because I don't like the message, and I don't think I'll benefit from it.
No, I definitely.
Fair.
Like I was like I'm writing something right now, like because I'm writing something. It's not coming out Friday. It was supposed to come out Friday, but it'll probably come out next week or a week after. I was like, is hip hop still a reflection of the environment, or has the music made the environments worse?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I would argue for music making the environment worse, because for lean,
it's probably
Xans,
both. Like it's not exclusive.
I feel like it's definitely a mix of both.
Yeah.
But I feel like the shit, like the drug aspect of it, is definitely music affecting the environment.
Yeah.
because Zans weren't popular until niggas started talking about it in songs.
Yeah, niggas used to sell that shit, not do it. Now most of the niggas doing, I'm selling it are the fiends. Like, for instance, you know,
because like now everyone just does it, and it's not necessarily because they need it. It's just because it's a lifestyle that's glorified in the music itself.
That's very true.
And a lot of people, mainly sometimes, especially people who are trying to start up in it, they'll feel like they have to.
Pressure to do
most
it.
Most people will feel like they have to satisfy a status quo. Like it's, you know, like it's a few amount of people who actually go into it with the intention of pushing the boundaries, because that makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. You need to step out of your comfort zone to do that. So most people who start up are just doing something formulaic.
Okay.
They're just, I don't know, they're finding a type beat of whoever's popping right now, whatever producer artist is popping right now, and then rapping exactly like them. How many Migos, fucking fake Migos, did you see when Migos blew up? When T-shirt blew up? When Mama Told Me blew up? How many fake Young Thugs did you see when Young Thug blew up?
Stoner came out, holy shit! Everyone was trying to crack their voice.
When Antidote came out, how many fucking fake Travises did you see now?
How many niggas
adapting melodies,
throwing water at their fans with their water bottles for you know what I mean? That shit wasn't a thing in hip hop, at least. Maybe in I can't
punk,
speak on
definitely
I can't speak
punk.
on punk and rock and all that shit, because like that's not my forte. But like in hip hop, niggas weren't stage diving like that. Niggas weren't.
They weren't that crazy.
Niggas weren't trying to one up each other performance wise. Like niggas would stunt back and forth and flex. Like Hove would have legendary performances at Madison Square Garden, but nigga wasn't stage diving.
Yeah, niggas wasn't actually like wilding out.
Niggas were sitting down or they were just bopping back and forth.
Walking across the stage and then just like rapping.
Travis Scott would cuss people out and be like, yo, get off your fucking phone.
Yeah.
Like take your shirt off.
I'd say Tyler gets some credit for that too, because Tyler's shows was fucking
Tyler
wild.
At Blues Fest, the first time he came, or if he came again, I don't know, but the time he came with Jasper and Taco and them, like even Action Bronson, like Tyler the Creator concert was wild. That was one of the first experiences I was like, as a kid, I was like, this nigga will do anything for the fame. Like he's really into what he's doing. You know what I mean? He's really having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's not about the money. It's not about the drugs, the girls, or anything. It's about like the fun of making the art. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's doing it for. Yeah, he's doing it for it.
Yeah. Even Action Bronson got arrested. He got arrested
Action
at Blues
would
Fest.
like fucking throw fans into
Yeah,
he would
like-
jump. He would lift them onto his shoulders.
Yeah, like
and then do like a wrestling move on them onto the crowd.
Bro, like, listen, like it's weird. Like even with Antidote, like it's weird. Like Travis Scott's documentary just came out today.
I haven't watched it yet.
I don't think I'm gonna watch it until like the hype goes down, because like
Facts.
I was a big like Travis fan. Like I'm still a big fan of him.
Days
like,
before Rodeo
Yeah,
era.
but he's not my favorite artist anymore. Like I wouldn't say he lost that title, but it's like it's not fun if everyone.
He went commercial.
Yeah.
And he went commercial. Like Astroworld really pushed him on.
I remember I was telling people, like I used to tell my friends, yo, like this nigga Travis Scott's about to blow up. Like listen to Cold. What is it? Cruel Summers or Cruel Winter?
Cruel Winter, Sin City.
Yeah, Sin City. I was like, that verse on Sin City, that's retarded. Like, he bodied that trick. I'm 10 a.m. in Wasabi, and then like the freaking the screams on the production. I'm like, yo, this nigga's going off. And
that was so him too.
Yeah, and then Yeezus, like his production. Yo, there's so many leaked verses from what he like his verses on Yeezus.
Say word.
Like there's one he's supposed to be on I'm in it. And he did the verse, or Tanash took the verse that he was supposed to do I'm in it, and she put it on one of her songs. And like there's a version somewhere on Tumblr, I could find it and send it to you, of him on it. It just sounds ridiculous. It's so raw, like no auto-tune on his voice or anything.
He was one of those guys like pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, he
like,
was. And like he said it in one of his old interviews that probably niggas don't even watch, but he's like I'm not a graduation kid. Like he's like, I'm legit before 808s. Like he feel like his artistry was created before 808s. Like he wanted, if 808s was this way, he wanted to go that way and like make it sound more dark and less about heartbreaking and more about raging. You know what I mean? But like he also has his knocks. Like niggas said, like, back in Houston, think he stole his sound and all that shit. And like I used to listen to Travis when he was in a group with this artist. Forget the OG Chris or some shit like that. And he made like Return
Graduates.
of the, yeah. He made the Return of the Mac remix and all that shit. Like that shit was fire. But like,
bro. When I got into him like 2015, I dug. I found that. I found a few songs from that, and I found the OG Alfaro one,
Bro, OJ
Man.
The guy
Alfaro's.
who recorded it went to St. Pat's, or the guy who
Yeah, Jay
produced
Graham.
it, Jay Graham.
Jay
yeah.
Graham
Where?
recorded 6 beats on like the Alfaro, the one that was released, and he went to St. Pat's, and he went to Immaculata after that too.
That's so sick.
Like
Small
that's
world.
crazy. Like yeah, it's a small world, and I didn't even know
world.
that until 2 years ago.
Same.
like-
I just found out.
Like I remember I used to make arguments for this nigga, like yo, this nigga's an ill producer, blah blah blah, and I'm like, this nigga's from. I didn't even know. He
But
was
you
from
know
Ottawa.
what's beautiful about the whole like, it's a pattern. Like it always happens
Yeah.
with artists. Like when you see them, when you find them out, and you know like something's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and then you keep telling people, and then don't get it until it happens. Because, and even in the trailer they show that
Yeah.
from the 2014,
Bro, he
that
had a-
performance, he had 15 people in the crowd.
Bro, I remember that performance. I remember he performed Up with Casey Veggies at that show, and I was like wilding because that was my track. I was a big Casey Veggies fan too, and they went on tour together. It was a PNC XX tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm like, I need to go to Toronto and go watch this tour. I'm like,
Yeah.
these guys are my boys. You know what I mean? Like, I would tweet at. I remember when freaking what's that track with T.I. and 2 Chainz? Upper Echelon.
Yeah.
Upper Echelon drops, and he's like, it was back when artists only had like 1K followers and shit. He's like, tweet my shit, blah blah, blah, blow or spam my shit. And like he retweeted me. I used to got so hyped.
You contrast that with like Astroworld tour.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, this nigga's going on roller coasters on
Nigga
stage.
got roller coasters built on stage, bro. And he's
wild.
riding them like going upside down.
The creativity is
doing
amazing.
songs while being upside down, like at his tour, like. And then you see that, and then that put next to what he was doing in 2014, and you're like, holy shit, like this guy really fucking grinding his way through and became that.
But even that,
And that's
like,
beautiful, bro. That's so beautiful to watch.
when Travis came to Ottawa, Lavelle opened for him. And this was like blonde hair Lavelle without the braids and all that shit. And like niggas didn't really know who the niggas knew who he was in Ottawa, like the niggas. But like the people there were there for Travis. But like I still watch footage from that show, and that was before he dropped Red Teenage Melody. And then to where he's doing now, it's like it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. This nigga is on the right path, and he's doing like he's only a year older than me, and he's really doing the shit that like I want to see my niggas do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's
just
crazy.
beautiful.
It's crazy
really
how
beautiful.
he's one of the only Ottawa niggas I know of that's still that big, from what I
Yeah.
know.
Like there's also Dax, but like I'm personally not a big,
Dax is an Ottawa nigga.
Dax from Orleans,
Bro,
man.
every time I see him, he fucking pisses me off. He
That
looks
nigga's a
corny.
hooper.
He looks so corny.
I'm not a big fan of Dax. I'm not gonna lie. My
He
niggas,
looks so fucking
my niggas
corny.
I work with love Dax. They love him. But
I'm
like,
happy for him though, but
I just think the subject matter is exactly the same. I like the fucking my girlfriend cheated on me track. That shit's super corny, and I just think
I
it's
don't even know what.
Yeah, he's very like YouTube clickbait tracks, and it's like that's just not.
Oh,
me.
he's a YouTube rapper.
Yeah, exactly. But like, what is? Yeah, exactly.
What a title.
Exactly.
You know those like Daystorm. If you know Daystorm
yeah.
from YouTube, is like a YouTube rapper. Like he'll get a lot
Timothy
of views.
Delgado.
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
like popping, but you never see them.
That nigga can never make it. Like, let's put it like this: that nigga can never make an album that I'll listen to, because this. I don't think he can make a tape. I think he could put out
could
songs
put out
and
good
freestyles.
videos.
Like he can put out good videos, but I
He's
don't
a
think he
good
can put out
YouTuber.
an album. You know what? Like, you know how hard it is to make an album.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty hard.
you've made an album, like a conceptual album. Like Scouts is a concept.
Yeah.
Scouts, like I watched your documentary. Scouts like took time to make. Scouts, it took inspiration. I don't think he can. He has that much ambition to grasp inspiration to make a conceptual album.
The way I see it is like with everything. It's like same for him. Like if you're working on a collection or a writing piece
Yeah.
or just an album or a project, it's like anything. It's just like giving birth.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You're just giving birth. You get the idea, which is basically, I don't know, when the sperm gets into the womb, and now you're like, as soon as you know that you're pregnant with the idea, your job is to just nurture it.
Yeah.
What do you consume? Everything you do, just now is just, you just need to be like mindful of that, because that's the idea growing, the child growing. And then when you feel like that child is ready, you put it out.
Fair enough.
And then from there, all you can really do is just like, once it's out, you can teach it about you could show it into the world, like make sure it's
story.
groomed properly.
Groom the story so
Yeah.
people can understand it.
Yeah, so that's like marketing once it's out, like bringing it out to the right people and showing it to people. But there's a certain control you don't have, because people will receive them however they want.
That's true.
They're getting you, and they may or may not like that, but it's you, and that's why niggas like fearing criticism is so bad because, nigga, in the end, it's like so subjective that, what you're not gonna be proud of your child because people don't like it?
People don't really think like that. It's wild.
Like, you're not gonna be proud of yourself and your child for raising the child, and then for the child to just grow up because because two people said, I don't like that nigga. You're gonna be like, nah, okay, facts, fuck that nigga. Yeah, no.
That's like Lupe when Lupe was like, yo, fuck my album. If you're a real fan, throw out my album, because everyone was talking shit about it.
And he just
it's
joined?
like, yo, like, you had to think about it. When you were making the album, you loved it. You were in a certain spot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, when you're out of that spot, maybe you look back at it as like, yo, like, this shit's trash. But it's like, just try to gasp a memory. That's why people don't live in the moment. Try to gasp the memory of where you were when you were making that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a part of you, whether you like it or not. You were in that mindset. Right. It's like, for instance, for M, it was like a relapse. Like, M hates relapse, but like, I love relapse because I love. Like, it's sad because he was doing drugs and all that shit, but I love where he was at. I love where he was at in his life, you know? Like,
Tyler explained it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, his career is like ups and downs. Yeah. He hated it because it wasn't him. Or I guess it's just because it signified what he didn't want to be at the time, which was someone relapsing. And
I think.
And then did recovery and all of that shit when he got pressure.
I love recovery. I love recovery. Listen, I've talked too much shit. If I know certain people are gonna be watching this that know me. I've talked too much shit about recovery to not like it anymore.
It's a pop
because it is a pop album, but it's there's songs like Seduction. There's songs like Coldest Winter. Like like fire songs on it. You know what I mean?
But now he's just fully gone.
Nah, his Kamikaze was all right, but his album
I didn't
before
even
that was garbage.
Revival.
My older brother is the biggest M fan. He thinks M is the greatest rapper of all time. I think M is top 3 at rapping
of all time.
At rapping, the skill of rapping, not like artists. I'm talking about the.
Oh, okay. In terms of like technically.
Yeah, technically speaking, he's top 3 all time.
Yeah,
he's top 3 all time.
Yeah, facts.
M is crazy, but like in terms like.
Yeah, actually, yeah, true. Like, I agree.
Yeah, M is crazy, man. He has deep cuts. I got a question for you though. You're a big artist in the city, creative wise. Like you inspire me a lot with what you do and shit like that. Like, looking back like a year ago, how do you feel about the scene today? Like, in Ottawa, like we had a top 50 list and all that shit.
Oh yeah,
we were talking about that.
You should answer that question too after. I'd say not even like a year's time from the point I came here, which was 2015, I think, till now, which is 4 years. There's definitely been like a burst of creativity. I wouldn't necessarily say creativity. I think it's just a burst of creative output. Okay. And there's way more people now like doing making shit. Yeah. Than there were 4 years ago. Like 4 years ago,
or at least it feels like it, because like I've met so many new people that do shit. Like, oh shit, I didn't even know.
Yeah. No, I feel the same.
And it wasn't even cool 4 years ago. Yeah. Like a major change. I wouldn't even say in the scale of Ottawa, just in terms of like Western world, a major change happened over these past 4 years. Yeah. And I think it's with the popularity of TuneCore and all those like, and just independence in general has gotten quite like popping over these 4 years. Yeah. And I don't know what necessarily like triggered that, but something changed. And since like I'd say late 2017, shit's just been like adding up. Like niggas starting to start companies, clothing brands, like niggas coming out like I'm a rapper now. Like when that shit was, when I know CJ Capital, he was the only guy I knew in school like late 2015, 2016 that was making music and I was like open about it. It's almost like a weird thing with the same thing like gay niggas like had. Yeah. When you had to come out, like it was a whole big. Now you don't have to come out if you're gay. Like now it's just normal. It's just like oh, you're gay. Like, you're just gay. That's it. And it was like he was the only guy that was like a out creative. Yeah, like nigga performed the song for us in class, in religion class, like when he dropped a song. Yeah. And then
that's brave.
It wasn't even cool at the time. He was still doing it, and I respect him so much for that.
For me, there was a lot of like when in high school, I would hear like everyone was making music. Like even I was producing in high school, and like I wasn't even good at it. That tells you that I'm not doing it anymore. Like I was okay, but like to niggas that like I work with now, it's like yo, like them niggas are really on their shit, pumping out 3 beats a day, like quality beats a day. Like that's beautiful.
I think it started first with beats because there was a lot of like who was popping around the time making beats. Like Internet Money started around 2017, maybe 2018.
I started making beats when I first got into Metro Boomin.
Yeah, it was like around when Metro Boomin, when the first like he was one of the first producers to blow up like as a producer. So and especially in the hip hop scene, like he was like there's Neptunes and shit like that, but he was like popping. Like he was, people wanted Metro Boomin. Like people would listen to a track because it was produced by him, not because of the artist involved. Yeah, for real. So I feel like a lot like that started a lot of things with beat makers.
I remember being in class and I listened. I was just on my laptop in class because in grade 11 we were allowed to bring our laptops in class for some reason. And I had like the old ass like bulky Dells. Everyone else had MacBooks and shit. Same. And like I was on YouTube and some more popped up on my screen, like some more by Young Thug. And it's like one of his throwaways. It's like
want some more?
Yeah, the first track is Metro Boomin want some more, nigga. And then he's like TM want some more, Sonny Digital want some more.
Yeah, and then he kept that as a producer tag.
And then like
that's crazy.
And then that's when I started getting into Metro, and like this nigga was in college, and like he was sending beats to artists from college in St. Louis, and he moved to fucking Atlanta for that shit. And
yeah, because that's when Atlanta was like coming up. Like
Atlanta's always been on the map. If you look deep enough, Atlanta's always been like the hub for this shit.
Yeah, low key.
Atlanta, like back when crunk music was the shit, like Atlanta was like popping, like T-Pain.
Yeah,
John, like,
actually, Atlanta's always had a hand.
But it's just when like it's in everything in sports too. It's like when you think about shit, you think about LA and New York. You think about LA and New York, and it's just that like when it's sports, it's like yo, New York, the Knicks. I love the Knicks. The Knicks are the worst team in the league, like business wise. They can make the fucking horrible ass decisions. I fucking hate it, but it's the biggest market in the NBA. Because it's New York. Yeah. Like you go there, you could be the worst team. You go there and your jerseys are gonna sell. Facts. You know what I mean? It's just a big market. And the same with LA. LA is a huge market, man. And like people are slowly like discovering like Silicon Valley is huge. Like it's not just about California, Los Angeles anymore.
That's true. Silicon Valley is like probably has had a hand in all of the technology shit that we've had over the past like 10 years.
It's beautiful.
It's so funny because niggas still don't get it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like,
but what do you think? What's your experience been with that? Like seeing, because you agree, right? Like from 2015, 2014 to now, like there's been a big change in terms of like creative output.
Yeah, I don't know if it's as much like creative output or the fact that we've actually just put ourselves in the space where people do create. You know what I mean?
So you're saying like it was always been there, but now that we actually...
I don't know if it has because I don't have the contract. I don't have like... Yeah. I can't step back and say, oh, this is how it was. Yeah. But to me, it's like, I think people just know what they want to do now and they're putting more time into it and really putting time into it. And like, because they put so much time into it, like they really, like they know they have a love for it, so they can just pour everything into it.
I agree. Like, at least with like what, like for instance, for what me and my guys are trying to do, like I really want to see everyone do good in the city. Like I always be like telling you like how I think like your dojo club, shit you guys do with releases and t-shirt. It's not even just about the music. It's about the whole brand. Like I love what you're doing with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like nigga, your shit sells out like this. Like quick. Jay's talking to me like people that I didn't even know we had mutual friends are telling me about your shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and it's like yo, like if the word's getting around to the right people, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And especially to your peers in the industry, if they're supporting you, then it's beautiful. Yeah. It's really that like that's that's why I mean about collaboration. Like if you're like it's cool when your fans are fucking with you. It's cool when like people that aren't doing shit like in music or involved in arts are fucking with you. But like once your peers start fucking with you and support you, you're on a whole another level because now their connections become your connections. Yeah. They're talking about you to the people that they know. Mm-hmm. And then the spectrum's getting bigger for the chances of like people blowing up. All we need is one. Yeah. Like Lavelle's getting there, but like all we need is one. We need a Drake. We need a nigga to pop on the billboards, to pop in the mainstream, to bring more attention. That's all we need. Cause I think in terms of Ottawa compared to like Toronto or like
people
Montreal,
are cynical here too. They're
Yeah,
like, oh, fuck
yeah.
Ottawa. Like, it's why.
exactly. Like,
Facts.
but,
Ottawa
like,
niggas going fuck Ottawa.
it's hard for me to say fuck Ottawa because this is all I've known. You know, like I don't really travel much. Like all I've really known is like my area that I grew up in. Like I said, like I've only been to Bayshore 3 times in my life. You know what I mean? And I went to school in Orleans by like I was forced to, not by choice. You know what I mean? I wanted to go to St. Pat's, but like my mom sent me to school in Orleans because all my friends went there and she wanted me to be like my friends.
Yeah.
So like I went to, and Louis Riel is not even Orleans, it's Blackburn Hamlet. Apparently, I didn't even know. It's what niggas.
That's so far, bro. How
Yeah.
long was the bus ride?
Oh, easily an hour and a half every day.
Jesus.
I would wake up at 6. I'd get to Blair at 8, and then
That's
I get to school
crazy.
late every day.
Damn.
But like it's like
I did something similar because I went to St. Peter's.
You went to
I
St.
lived
Pete's?
in Gatineau for
So
a
you went to, like,
year. It was
Darcy
2
McGee.
hours for a year, and then we moved, and it was like an hour and like 20 minutes.
Oh shit! Did you
Yeah.
like St. Pete's?
I did not like high school,
Yeah.
so no.
Why did you not like high school?
It was I came grade 11. That's partly why.
Okay.
Because grade 11, you come at grade 11, like
Everyone
all the
already-
circles already made, and I only knew like my cousin. That's why I still went to the school even though it was all the way there because I already knew someone in there. I was gonna be easier to like adapt. Like grade 11, if you have someone in there, it's way easier in terms of like socially. So I had her, and then through her, I got introduced to like the people she knew. So that was cool, but there was never like a connection made because like I didn't know the niggas.
Yeah.
And it was just like freshly new, like
It's
2
all,
years.
like, surface level.
Yeah, it was mainly all surface level, and then to make it worse, like I lived in Gatineau, so after school, there's no like staying.
You're going straight.
Yeah,
home.
going straight home
I
because
feel
you don't have time.
I feel you, like, I mean, I was definitely not popular in high school. Like, I kind of like tried to get through high school as quick as I can. Every day I'd go home, be with my friends, because all my friends went to different schools. You know,
Yeah.
like I had friends in my school, and like I was trying to, I tried to be cool with at least everybody. You know, like I wasn't part of like one specific crew, but like all my friends went to St. Pat's, so like every ball game there was, I was there. I
Yeah.
was trying to be with my niggas all the time, and like it was kind of like I went there, but I didn't go there. And people like, but that's kind of like with a lot of people that didn't go to St. Pat's. They like to, all their friends went there. You know what I mean? Well, like people like me, like their parents didn't want them to end up like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it was a blessing though.
To go
Those 2 years was such a blessing because those 2 years was like I had moved. I lived in Laval for a bit, for like 4 years, and then that's when I got introduced to like Travis Scott, and I started getting into producing. And then it's actually when I moved to Ottawa that I was like, okay, maybe I should start like doing this shit more often. And I started making beats like often, like almost every day. And that's when I made the SoundCloud to start putting out like beats before I started rapping. And then like just putting vocals on songs and even trying to like brand myself as like a musician. But those 2 years, it was just alone. Like it was like you go home after school, all your friends are over here while you're over there, and all you're doing is just sitting there with yourself.
yeah,
And it's a lot of shit that I went through those 2 years that people have not gone through yet, that they're gonna need to go through, and that they're gonna be too old to even be able to handle because they won't know, because their entire life has been spent with people their entire for that entire time, that when the time comes that they'll have to be by themselves and face themselves, they won't be able to do it. I've conquered that.
that's sick.
I've conquered that. Like
It's sort of like if you're scared of going bald at 40, just shave your head at 20. You know?
If you look, that people, I already hear people saying like, "Yo, I'm gonna go bald, so I'm never cutting my hair again." You know what I
That's
mean? Type
crazy.
of shit. And it's like, yo, that's a big commitment to never cut your hair again. Like I'd be getting my hair cut every 2 weeks or every like just the sides and shit. But like saying you're never gonna cut your hair again, like that's
just you're just holding on.
Yeah.
And which is making it
Nigga,
worse.
just get a baseball cap collection, man. Back in style, like dad hats and all that shit.
But
I would go bald. That'd be pretty sick.
what do you guys think in terms of like creativity? What do you think is going to happen? Not necessarily what's going to happen. Where do you think we're gonna be in like? And I mean, you can answer it globally or locally, in like 5 to 10 years.
Music wise.
You could go music, but I'm talking like just creativity in general, like just art scene.
For music, I think we're getting back to bars. I think niggas are just gonna start barring out again, which is weird because
Oh yeah,
I fuck with melodies, but like I feel like it's a roller coaster. Like I feel niggas are gonna get back to like just barring out
cyclical.
People. Yeah, and then like in terms of like, listen, like I was watching your last shit and like I didn't even know that like your boy was saying how like in 12 years this shit can be like with the environment and all that, like we might not even go back be able to fix it. So like technology, like I think that's gonna go towards. Like technology is gonna go towards like keeping us alive or maintaining the planet and shit like that. Yeah. Because like I don't think people give a fuck about the environment. They rather sustain their lives. You know what I mean? Keep living how they live or make it easier. And I think technology will be a way to like fix environment without really fixing it. Like make it like an artificial planet. You know what I mean?
Oh, that actually gives me that actually brings up some shit I
don't
told you
think
the
that's
other
a solution.
day.
I don't think it's a solution, but like I just think that's how niggas think, like how people think. You know what I mean?
Reliant,
quick fix.
Yeah, exactly. People don't want to recycle. People don't want to recycle if they have to work to recycle. You know what I mean? But if it's easy, or if they know like I can throw it out in the regular garbage and
they value their convenience
something's gonna sort it for me. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
That relates to the shit we were talking about the other day. Because when I read this book, *Sapiens*, which is about like history of humanity up until the point we've gotten to now, the agricultural revolution, the one we brought out episode 22, when we started living in homes and like when we let go,
villages,
when we let go of the hunter-gatherer shit and we started like planting shit and then having agriculture, when we adapted agriculture, it actually we realized throughout time that it was more work than actually being a hunter-gatherer. There was more hours trying to keep everything. Maintenance costs was way too much compared to hunting and gathering. But by the time we realized that, it was too late.
Okay.
Letting go of agriculture would have actually like
saved us?
No, it would have fucked us up at that point that we realized it.
Okay.
And then that was the agricultural revolution.
Right. And there's too much infrastructure anyways.
Yeah, and then now we're in the industrial revolution.
Okay.
And now we're at this point where we're now realizing, and we're way deep into this shit, that we're now realizing that all of this shit, all of these industrial shits that we've figured out might be what makes us go extinct. Pollution from factories, which is one of the biggest things from the industrial revolution. Cars, gas, fucking all of the technology that we're doing, plastic.
That's wild.
And then now that we're realizing it, the question I'm asking is, do you think that it's just like the agricultural revolution to the point where now that we realize that it's already too late?
I think it's too late.
Yeah,
but
I definitely think we're like.
I don't
want to be pessimistic or skeptical, but I think it's either too late to go back, or it's definitely too late to go back.
It's too late to go back. Way too late.
But the thing is, what can we do to move forward? Can we do something new? Can we create something new that might help?
Oh man, like we already have things that like I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and of course, right? It was about 5G. I sent it to you. And, and they're saying, the guy was saying that like Motorola already has a patent on a microwave that's actually healing, because like we get waves from the sun that are good for you, but like this shit, like 3G, 5G, it's terrible. Yeah. So these waves, they're just that, waves. You can choose whether it's going to be good for you or bad for you. Like people already have technology to do good, but they choose not to because it makes money, right?
Unprofitable.
And people are stupid too. Well, not stupid, but when you're in it, you can't take that step back and be like, oh shit, this is not good. Because even in the agricultural revolution, like science says that the brain size of the human actually decreased once agriculture started like being into play. So before that, when we just ate meat, fats, that was the best for us. Our brain size was the biggest. Yeah. But the moment we started with agriculture, it started to diminish. Same with right now. Like things are so much easier. You can just be on your phone. We're
using less of ourselves and using outsourcing
and
to
it
other
feels
shit.
So easy, but the thing is, like, our capabilities are diminishing to the point like, we're just lazy. We don't think we can do anything.
I watched a movie, I forget what it's called, but it has Scarlett Johansson, and I really love her.
Oh, it's fuck, what's it called?
You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't when she's using 100% of her brain.
Limitless.
Yeah. No, Limitless is another one. Limitless is fire too.
Limitless is better than that one though.
Limitless,
it might be Lucy. That's the name of the movie.
We can talk about Limitless instead. Limitless, that pill that you take and you can use more percentage of your brain.
I don't think the movie's about the pill. I don't think it's saying that.
Yeah.
I think the movie is more about
it boosts all your
it's about the pill. Like the movie itself, it's
the
like
pill
a
is
guy,
the tool.
he comes
to
across
the-
that drug and it helps him blah blah blah, and he starts to depend on it. But the end kind of makes a point.
Yeah.
Because the end when you see, because the way the movie is stylized is amazing.
Yeah.
When he's off it, it's like blue and like depressing, like the coloring, the
Withdrawal.
editing.
Yeah.
And then when he takes it, it's like all saturated. His eyes are like super fucking blue.
Yeah.
Dilated pupils.
Yeah, and then the colors and the editing itself change.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
But at the end, it kind of gets to this point when it's in the middle-ish, like when he's running.
Yeah.
And then the guy asks him like,
When he's running for like the election, right?
yeah, and he said like he's off it. He's been off it,
He's like,
but
but
he's
I
still
can-
fine.
yeah.
And he can still tap into it
Yeah.
whenever he wants. I think that's the point the film makes.
Okay.
Because the entire movie, all he's doing is juggling between two extremes.
Yeah. And when
he's
he's
just
about to die, like when he's in the house and he's about to die, he's looking for that last pill and he loses it. He has to think, yo, how am I gonna get out of this situation without this fucking pill?
yeah. And I
wild.
think the point that he's
I'm gonna
making
go home and
that
watch
yeah, bro, I've seen it like 3 times already. In the span of like a month, I saw it 3 times. It was so sick, like watching it. But I think the point they're making is mainly that you like, as much as it makes you feel that like crazy and it gives you all of this shit, it's still synthetic.
Yeah.
It's still
Right.
synthetic.
Your
and
body's
it's-
not meant to handle it.
and it's still gonna wear off too, right? And then when he came across it and it gave him all of this shit and he realized all of these things and did all of these things and was super sharp, when he woke up the day after, he was still where he like was before.
Yeah.
He still fell back. It's just same as like smoking.
Yeah.
You smoke weed, you feel great, and then you're back where you
Same
started.
as when you drink, yeah.
And then you have to smoke again, and that's how he created dependency. I think that's what they're talking about. And in the end, when he's off it, he realized like he could tap into it.
I can still do what I'm doing. I just don't need the pill anymore.
Yeah, and it showed you even in the editing, it wasn't too bright and it wasn't too dark.
It was perfect.
It was right in the middle. The editing was like neutral.
That's sick.
Whoa,
I never
I didn't
caught
take
that,
that in.
but
Yeah.
like now that like I look back, I'm like, yeah, that fucking makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
The editing at the end is neutral, and it's not too saturated, and it's not too saturated and warm, and it's not too desaturated and like super bluish and looks depressing.
Right.
It's because he figured out the middle way. It's like the middle way is him. Like he doesn't need to be like super sharp all the time. He can still be a success, being elected.
To answer your question, like about like the technology thing, that's where I think it's going. I think it's like we're gonna have more tools to let us use more percentages of our brain. Because I feel like that's the next thing after like neurology and all that shit. That's the next thing that
and
people
especially what's it called, quantum physics.
like, yeah,
too.
like
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the next thing is like.
And
I think I essentially like when I close my eyes and I think about like 20 years or 30 years from now or even the future that I'm not in, you know what I mean? I think about an artificial earth where everything is artificial. Everything is not real. Everything is man-made. Like the grass will be man-made. Fucking.
I don't think
like
that's.
that.
I don't like that.
I don't think that's.
I
even
don't
healthy.
like it, but I'm
And
just
I
saying. Like,
also I don't think. I don't know because there's a huge biohacking community in the world right now. Do you know what biohacking is?
no, I don't.
It's basically just like a bunch of doctors, freaking like athletes, mostly doctors that do like N of 1 research on themselves. So they'll just like
Is that legal?
it is because like they'll just test themselves. So biohacking is basically trying to optimize the human body using whatever tools you have. So it can be anything from like red light to like microdosing mushrooms to like there's so much things, but like bulletproof coffee where you put
Bulletproof coffee,
Yeah.
nigga?
Oh, yeah, that was
so
crazy. I
it's,
tried
it's
that.
where you
I tried
put
that.
it's pure it's good coffee grounds
Yeah.
with just butter or ghee. So you
Okay.
like whisk it to the point it's like it's mixed into it's infused into the coffee. So what happens is when you drink the coffee, you don't diminish it. Like you don't get the crash because the fat keeps
You going.
It keeps
it
it
keeps you
stable.
going, keeps it
that's sick.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's just little things like that, but there's so many ways to hack your
very
body.
nice,
Like
yeah.
breath work especially is one of the biggest things.
I think it's a cop out in a
And
way
it's-
from
and-
humanity to do that.
To
like
do
to we
people
haven't
won't do
even
it, though.
figured everything
To do
out
what?
about
People won't do it, though.
ourselves.
to do what?
Like to outsource everything, to try to create something. Like in a way it's still us, but it's not, because we're just trying to find shit to depend on. But when we can just figure ourselves out the fullest, like a nigga like Paul Check who knows all of these things,
it's too much work.
Like, but it's so much work that they're just like, fuck it, we don't want to do that.
Niggas, like, listen, man, I'm a lazy person. I'm not overly lazy. Like, I get what I need to get done, but like I'm lazy. Like, and like that's what I've learned. Like, as an adult, trying to take accountability for being lazy. You know what I mean? Even today, I was like, yo, I don't feel like being too social, but like I know I can't cancel because I made the plans. It's like I need to be here and I'm gonna fucking give my all. You know what I mean? But it's like people don't want to do what they're responsible to do, because in the moment that they've made the plans, like when we were talking about the interview, when you told me to come on, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to fucking do it because I'm in a good mood.
Yeah,
and right now
it always happens.
But then when it comes to it, you're like, yo, like
when you're getting closer, you're like, fuck.
You're like, fuck. Like, I still want to do it, but like,
it's like, fuck, I gotta catch the bus.
It's like trying to start a gym habit or any kind of habit. You're like, oh yeah, man, gym. Yeah, New Year. Like, I'm just gonna start going to the gym. And then there's that day when you just have to wake up. You don't feel like it. You're in a low, and you need to get your ass out of fucking bed and get to the gym. And you just don't want to. When it's snowing.
Yeah. So imagine working on yourself, and like now you have to tap into like your faults and like your traumas from your past, and that's the day that you got to do that. And you wake up, you're like, well, I don't want to fucking go over my.
And you
mommy.
have to do that if you want to.
Yeah. If you want to progress, you have to. But like imagine waking up one day, you're like, yo, I got to deal with my mommy issues today. You're like, nah, I'll just go to bed and do that shit tomorrow. You know what I mean? You're never gonna grow.
I'll just watch this movie. I'll just blah blah blah. I'll just do this, that.
And back to just growing, where we'll be in 10 years, right? I think the way forward is looking back. Because all the biohacking shit, it's all based on ancestral living. So what our ancestors
I'm gonna do more research on that.
It's just about how niggas lived back then.
And it's like, there's so much ways, like, fuck, you could, there's too much. I don't even know enough to go on about it, but.
No, it sounds fucking sick though.
And it all comes back to education. Like people don't know it exists.
It's basically life hacks for your body.
Yeah.
But I still think it's the natural order of things.
Yeah, of course.
At the end of the day, I still think it's the natural order of things.
We get to choose. We get to decide where it goes.
I still believe that AI is gonna get created, no matter what.
It's already created.
No, you know what I mean. Like the AI that niggas are like debating about, like
iRobot.
That AI that niggas are.
A lot of people don't think that's possible, but who knows?
Niggas didn't think fucking the internet was possible. Like how does the internet actually work? Like that's actually crazy. That someone people just figured that out.
It's all coding. And I need to learn how to code. Coding is so sick.
Coding is definitely,
and like microwaves and shit.
Coding
like,
is
we can't even see it.
100% the future. Like coding, and not even the future. Coding is now. Like coding is definitely happening right now.
I seen some nigga post on their story this week about the 5Gs. They're like, "Yo, invest in this 5G shit. It's serious. It can harm you. Blah blah."
Yeah. I think you know more.
Nigga, is it 5G? Is it like? I need to understand. Is it like what your phone services for like data? What is 5G?
So what? I just listened to the podcast yesterday. So my understanding is that. So 5G, so it's fifth generation. So there's 1G, 2G, 3G, 4, 5, right? And I think it just means like the amount of gigahertz per like wave.
Okay.
So 4 had less, but 5 has, I think, it's from like.
Right, exponentially more.
Oh, it's so much more. It's anywhere from like 10 gigahertz to 90.
Okay.
And our body is not meant to like be in range.
Stand it, yeah.
No, not at all. So what it does is it's stronger, but it has less range. And that's just the way like waves work. The faster it is, the shorter the length. The longer it is, the longer it lasts. So because of that, like that's why we have like 5G antennas. They have to be closer together.
Yeah.
Because you can't they have to communicate.
Okay.
And the way it works is like, so if my phone is connected to 5G and your phone is connected to 5G, it's all about data mining. So if my phone's connected to 5G, AliExpress has access to this. Is connected on this exact same Wi-Fi networks as yours, which means ads can be tailored to you specifically.
Shit.
Data, like it's all about data.
Yeah. See,
and sorry, what were you gonna say?
See, I think that's cool, but like I understand why it's dangerous. Like even with like being able to see what I want, like for advertising. Let's just say this: like when I'm on fucking Hypebeast and I see a fucking ad for like boats, and I've been wanting to go boating. So niggas know that I want to go boating, so they keep showing me boat shit. Like I think that's cool. You know what I mean?
One sec, let me answer that. Yo, we're recording right now. Say hi.
Oh shit, my bad. I thought you were done.
No, we're not done. We were kind of late, so
I was late. I was being a nigga.
I just like doing that. I did that last time for Tim too.
Oh, not special. Okay.
Hang up.
Okay, bye.
Wait, I had a question.
Nigga, we're recording.
Okay, well, you answered my question.
That is your fault.
That's true. Okay, what's the question? Hurry up.
What time are you going to be done?
I don't know. Probably like 5-10 minutes. I don't know.
In 5 to 10 minutes?
Just come now, and then we'll just
Pull up on me.
Okay, bye.
What building?
UC, yeah.
The one we recorded with you at.
Bye. I love you too. Okay, sorry.
Where were you going?
Ooh.
We're talking about 5G.
Yeah. I was saying how I think it's cool that you get ads tailored to you and all that shit, and security breaches I've never had a security breach affect me none of that, so I don't get the danger of it.
I don't give a single fuck about all that privacy shit.
Yeah.
The niggas losing their
If they
minds
need
over
it,
that.
if they want it, they can have it.
Yeah.
There's moments when a nigga will really, really not want their privacy because they'll just need it so bad.
Yeah.
They'll just need niggas to know information about them so bad that they'll see how useful it actually is. I don't care about that. Of course, there's always gonna be. It's like with every invention. There's downsides and upsides. There's people who will use it very wrong in terms of just for their own benefit, and there's people who will just use it for more profit, and then there's people who see the usefulness of it and will use it for good. And that's the thing about AI, is just two people seeing two different ways it could go.
Yeah.
And then they're just debating which one is going to happen.
Which side is pushing harder? And back to the harmful effects.
Yeah.
So the FCC says phones are not harmful at all. Well, the most harm it can do is just the heat that it generates towards your body. But that's not the harm that waves do. You can't even see it. So what it does is it actually it opens the calcium channels in your bones, and it's too much to the point your body can't. I think it's antioxidant. Your body can't produce enough antioxidants to fight it off. So it's not a good balance. So chronic exposure means cancer and just disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still think we're inventing the next race.
You think we're inventing the next race?
The next
that's crazy.
The next.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah, because technology is evolving past us. Way. It's not even. It's not even evolving past us.
This sounds like the Pixar theory.
It's already. What is it?
The Pixar theory, how we feed off of. Well, Pixar theory is very complicated. I'm not the one to explain it, but off the what I understand is that everything feeds off everything. So Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. is the end of the Pixar theory. It's the spectrum. This is the Monster theory. Monsters Inc. is the last thing, and they feed off of our dreams. So they go in the past and they feed off of our nightmares. So them scaring us, they're the evolution of humans. We become monsters because of everything that's gone bad, like the environment and shit like that. You know what I mean? And Wall-E's right in the middle, because when the world fucks up and goes bad, Wall-E fucking brings the humans back to Earth and plants that tree. Everything starts going well for a bit, and then it gets to Monsters Inc. because people started fucking evolving because the world is so hazardous and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
So I see what you mean in inventing. I don't think we're gonna invent. I think we're gonna evolve.
No, that's what I mean. We're gonna evolve into something, and I think we're just creating that something right now, and it's so distant from us right now that we just don't know what to do. But I still think it's gonna. Maybe that's why Elon is so focused towards the Neuralink shit, because I think what he's trying to do is not create it outside of us, but into us. That's why he's trying to plant the chip in your heads, because it's better at that than a fucking self-conscious robot that realizes that humans are way less than it, and it just goes, hey man, let me just we snap these niggas out of existence.
Oh,
easy.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
I think there's more than one cure for cancer.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways.
Is it because of the economy that they don't want to give it out, do you think?
I mean, how much? Yeah, we could just look up how much it probably costs to get treatment for it, and it's probably a fucking ridiculous amount. Yeah. So
I think medicine, they make so much money off people that have cancer. So what's the point of curing it?
I mean, niggas have probably invented fucking diseases to cure them, just to sell you the drugs back.
I believe that too.
I believe that 100%. I think a lot of the mental shits that niggas spend so much time freaking out over are man-made.
I always feel I always thought that AIDS. I always thought that AIDS was man-made.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Nigga, that shit is so mad. That's the only black people thing that I agree with.
Yeah.
One of the only ones. They probably invented that shit just to fucking
Kill niggas
just to kill niggas.
and gays. Shout out to the gays though. They couldn't kill them.
They actually could, because gays are running shit right now.
Yeah.
It's fucking tight.
No, they really are.
They're running shit. Oh my
But
god.
it's good for them
beautiful.
though.
But yeah,
Shout out
I think whether it's not even about whether or not we can go back. It's about which one of the two. Well, I wouldn't say it's only two outcomes, but the two main outcomes is gonna happen. I think it's two outcomes, but like millions of variations within those two. It's either we create something outside of ourselves that is way past us in terms of evolution and how capable that thing is, or we create or we evolve ourselves. Even though it might be synthetically, it's still gonna happen. I think it's still natural in the terms of it's coming from our minds, and it's us creating those things. Like it's still humans creating those things, and it's still humans evolving. Like agricultural evolution is still a human thing. Like making homes, making new tools, figuring it. Like the reason why we've at the point that we're at is because of our ability to create things. Right. Because we created the tools, we created fire. That's all shit that we outsource to because we've seen our own like incapabilities. We've seen our own limits, and we just said, all right, fuck these limits. Let's just see how we can create shit outside of our own like biological limits to help us win. Because the humans, Homo sapiens, were way weaker than Neanderthals. Like way, way weaker. Yeah. Neanderthals could fucking fuck them niggas up. And I think Neanderthals were actually smarter.
You think so?
I think so. From reading the book, their brains were bigger or some shit like that.
But just because your brain's bigger doesn't mean you're smarter.
No, yeah, that's the thing.
Wasn't the reason we succeeded because of communication? Because of communication
and because of our ability to believe in ideas even though they're not objectively real.
Okay.
That's why niggas kill themselves over money. It's a Homo sapiens ability to believe in that shit.
It's wild, yo. It's wild what people will die over these. Like in 2019, what people will die over? People will die over a piece of clothing. Like in 2019, you didn't see that problem.
I mean, it's the Popeyes thing going on,
yeah, bro.
Popeyes thing,
bro. Popeyes finally made a sandwich because they never made sandwiches before.
Well, they have catfish sandwich, but like they never had like a meat, like a chicken burger or shit like that.
Yeah, they made a chicken sandwich. Okay. And it's
over
niggas losing their fucking minds over it.
I think I don't know exactly what the figures were, but I think it's something about like $23 million of promotion made off social media, and they didn't even spend. It was just people talking about it.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth. It was $23.
There's clips of people like yelling at employees in the stores because they sold out. There's people
like the Boondocks episode.
Yeah, exactly that. It's exactly that. When they came out with that brand new like chicken thing, and then everyone's losing their fucking minds over it. It was legit what that Boondocks episode is going on right now.
Boondocks,
and it's crazy.
Boondocks and Simpson and Family Guy are so.
South Park too.
South
Park is
I
the
never
most
got into
underrated
South Park,
show.
but like
most underrated.
South Park. The only episode I watched was the YouTube episode where they're making fun of YouTube characters. Like Chocolate Rain
that's pretty recent. Yeah, that's pretty recent. So no, not even that one.
No, that was old. Like Chocolate Rain's old. But anyways, like those 4 shows, I guess, are like so forward thinking. Like they predict so much shit, like Ebola and fucking Trump for president.
They're not scared.
No, but like I watch theories like on YouTube as like these creators of these shows are time travelers and all. Like it's hilarious content, but like the arguments when you listen to them, like they're like, yeah, probably.
It makes sense,
It makes so much sense, but like think about it, it's like, it's not true. At least if it might not be true, but you never know. You know what I mean? Like these shows, like these concepts are so crazy that they're so believable. But maybe as a listener, I'm just naive. But like maybe it's I want to believe it's true. You know what I mean? Do you have time for one more? I have a question I want because you said something. Yeah. You said gays are running it. I want you to. What do you think about like sexuality in hip hop, or where it's going to be in a few years? It could be here or it could be local, worldwide.
I think Frank did a good ass. Frank started something in terms of hip hop, but I feel who's popping right now in terms of that?
Lil Nas X.
Oh yeah,
that nigga gay.
Yeah, there's so many rumors about him just doing that just because it's like cool.
Apparently his Twitter page used to be a Nicki Minaj fan account.
Niggas are pulling out old tweets about him like. doing that shit. But I don't know. I don't like when people do that shit. When someone pops and
I want people to pull up my old tweets.
they try to
trash.
dig into their old nigga. That's the person was a way different person than they are now. Like they use these things as if they're trying to make the argument that that person is the same person they were from like 4 or 5 years ago. Like that person just doesn't go through change like every other normal human being.
J. Cole has a tweet that says "fuck Hove." And now he signed to him. That's like the funniest shit. Like I look at that shit and I laugh, but it's like it's not like I think he doesn't like Jay.
But for you to use that and then try to get the person's like career ended just from some shit they said 5 years ago, it's so fucking ridiculous.
It's like brother nature. Yeah, it's like brother
so
nature.
dumb. But I think it's the same thing that's going on right now, and just in general, it's being accepted more. Like the whole talk about gender is cool. There's the extremists who fucking make the shit, who ruin the image of the movement, but in the end, it's still being normalized, and I think it's gonna be way more and more normalized as we go. That niggas will not feel, because hip hop was such a like barrier to that shit. Like it was niggas was saying like faggot in songs and shit like that, and like fucking shitting on
Tyler
like
was saying that. Like
but Tyler was just like a fucking teenager being a teenager. Like he had nothing against them niggas. He just said it.
I think gay shit is funny. Like
it's fucking
not
hilarious.
to be like not to sound offensive. Like I think like shit like niggas doing shit out of their comfort zone is hilarious. Like Doug wearing a dress, I thought that shit was funny. That was like, yo, like this is so like out of the ordinary. That shit's funny.
To me, that shit being even a big deal was funny to me, because it's like, wow, he's wearing a dress. That's such a big deal. Like, nigga, what is fucking piece of clothes? It's like the same thing with Jaden. Like everyone thought, oh, he's signed, he's growing crazy. He's signed to the fucking demon or some shit. He sold his soul because the nigga stepped out with a dress once. Everyone freaks the fuck out.
Tyler's freestyle on Flex, everyone was so appalled. I was like, yo, that is the funniest thing.
And I like that.
Time. He got Flex so out of his comfort zone, and he was.
That's what we were talking about earlier, because they asked Tyler to, you know how like he recently like came out like Igor is about him. I think getting into a relationship with a dude. So on the interview at Funk Flex, which is a very unlikely interview, like Tyler just seems like the nigga who just hates that type of shit, but. They asked him to kick a freestyle, and the entire freestyle, all he's talking about is like him and Funk Flex doing gay shit,
like fucking people in the ass, and it's hilarious. And
Flex
is
going,
like, yo,
and like going on dates, and
Flex is like,
entire
pause.
thing, I'll show it to you after. The entire thing, and the entire interview was just saying gay shit.
It was good. It was a good interview, but like Flex would say something like, yo, like I do Summer Jam. I've been DJing since the '90s, and then Tyler would be like, yo, that's so horny.
That's like his way. Like,
he'd be like, yo, that's so horny, and then Flex is like, yo, why are you using that word? Why? Like pause.
Like, pause.
Yo, pause, B.
But you can tell he's coming. Just seeing Flex, you can tell he's from a completely different time. You can tell he's from like hip hop around the time when that shit like had a barrier around that. It was like hip hop was like a hard nigga. You do bad shit and you go on like this shit to just talk about the bad shit that you do. Which Kanye, like when he came out, first started like changing that with the whole like pink polos. I don't want to talk about shooting niggas and being a thug niggas. I want to talk about God. I want to talk about like this fucking these new boots I got from fucking this designer shit. And then it just changed. And then now you had Tyler talking about fucking drawing shit and rainbows and all of that shit. And then now you have Frank talking about coming out before his album release and shit. And now you have Lil Nas X popping, having breaking a record, longest running number one record of all time.
Despacito.
And then, all right.
So sad.
And then him being gay, like it's just, I like it. It's changing. I still feel like hip hop is nearing its end. And that's the new, whatever the next new thing that's gonna come, a new genres. Like I feel like, I mean like nearing its end. Like rock isn't relevant anymore.
Rock isn't relevant.
It still exists. And the only time you hear about rock is from a different.
It's just not popular.
Yeah,
it still has influence.
When you look at Billboard Top 100, you're not seeing as much rock.
I want to live in a world where I never have to hear another Taylor Swift release. That's what
that's
I want.
Pop, but pop will always be relevant.
Yeah, but
pop music's
her,
been
though.
like rap is like hip hop and trap is still pop right now because most of the number one hits are still that. Yeah. But I still think that. Pop is, I don't know, what even is pop music?
I think pop. I don't think pop is a genre. Like when people say pop music, I don't think pop is a genre. I think pop is who's ever at the top of the totem pole. I think that's pop music.
Because Taylor Swift, what kind of music is that?
Taylor Swift, I would say that's like
pop.
Yeah, but like
It's like hook.
pop has become a genre because of like,
like
pop has
verse
become a genre. It's more of like a more accepting version of every genre. Like for instance, like Madonna,
'Cause
like
I feel
pop
like if I
music
listen-
back in the day, Madonna, it's like a very, 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 very light rock. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's still the
I
same.
feel like if I listen to the Taylor Swift album, I'll hear a lot of hip hop.
Well, you hear a lot of hip hop, a lot of like in her old shit, you'd hear a lot of country. You know what I mean? But that turned into pop. Like even with Miley Cyrus, like before, like she tried to be a nigga, she like a lot of her shit was very like country pop. Pop, like Drizzy is hip hop, but he's pop. It's very like
He's a poppest
saturated
hip-hop nigga.
Yeah, but Drizzy's a goat, so
Yeah,
it's
oh,
very
legend.
it's very saturated. It's very saturated genre, and that's what becomes pop in terms of genre. Since in terms of pop music, in my mind, pop is whatever's at the top of the mountain.
And that's what I mean.
Whatever's at the peak is pop music. So right now,
That's
hip
what
hop
I
is
mean.
pop music.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Rock was left field when it
Yeah.
came out, and then it became
Rock is
Billboard.
amazing, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing.
It became Billboard, like winning shit number
Yeah.
one for a long
They have a
time.
Hall of Fame.
And then punk came out, which was kind of modified rock. It was just like way different and trying to kind of
Punk is like trap.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the trap of rock, right?
Yeah.
And then from that came like disco was popping, but then it was like a funk disco kind of movement. There was always like the R&B shit going on as the rock was popular, but it was never as popular. But after disco came around, and I'm pretty sure the states were very bad at around the time economically. It was during the low, and then niggas just started flipping break beats and then saying the hop over it. And then from that started the hip hop movement.
Yeah.
And then now
79.
that's popping. And that's what I mean. It's at the top. And the normal cycle of things, if we look at the past and see the patterns, when it's at the top, something's gonna come and overtake it. And it's gonna go at the bottom.
Because I think hip hop's in a really good place right now,
Being
especially.
emotional.
Yeah, that definitely is preference. I like where hip hop is going, just because one, this year's been a great year in terms of production. I'm not even talking about lyrics.
Facts.
Samples have been hugely brought back. I'm a big person, like when it comes to sampling. Sampling like melts my heart. I hear a whole old soul or old R&B song flipped and in the sample. Shout out to Chanks. Chanks does that the best in the city in terms of my mind. I love that fucking shit.
Yeah, I think samples like crazy.
I love Just Blaze. I love fucking Ninth Wonder. Like the last track on Damn, Ninth Wonder flipped that sample like 3 times. And like when Kendrick was telling the story about how his dad met Top and all that shit, it was beautiful, beautiful. Jay's album, not the best album ever. It was definitely good in terms of
444?
Yeah, it was definitely
That
good.
shit is so good. What are you talking about?
I don't-
Y'all niggas just mad because you're not selling crack anymore.
No. Don't get me wrong. I think that's where hip hop needs to go. Like I don't know if you've seen Big Sean's freestyle and Flex this week.
I don't think it's gonna go there. When I listen to Big Sean's thing, it still sounds like 2013.
No, but like Sean spit a rap about like investment and taxes and all that shit. That's what Jay was. That album
giving the
was
blueprints.
giving niggas game for
Yeah,
real.
He was
And,
giving
I
niggas
liked it.
so much game. Oh my god.
I don't think Jay sounds good with just his raw. I get what he was doing, but like his raw vocals, that shit didn't sound good to me. Like appealing, but like No ID samples probably was the best samples of that
And
year.
it's the best sampling because it's complementing the subject.
Yeah,
Like he
exactly.
finds samples that actually have shit to do with what Jay is talking about in the song,
Yeah.
which is very, very hard to do.
Daytona
as a
is
producer.
people.
Daytona's-
Five years from now, Daytona is going to be remembered as a top 10 album of all time.
ridiculous.
Daytona is a classic.
It's just ridiculous.
Classic.
You know where I think things are going? Kids See Ghosts.
For real, you think
Kids
so?
See Ghosts sounds
I-
so
I like-
futuristic.
I like Kid See Ghost
It
a lot.
sounds so futuristic. Like it sounds like a mesh of everything that we've had up until this point.
You know what's weird? I think maybe I'm biased. I'm probably biased, but I think Ottawa's super future thinking in terms of music because I don't feel like we tend to a sound. I feel like we're very creative in the city. Like for instance, Toronto, a lot of artists, like no knock on them, a lot of artists sound the same. A lot of artists is very slangy, very up tempo beat, and it's very like just very trappy. But like here, it's like even if you look at like your shit's very introspective and very like you could tell you thought about everything you were gonna do, where to put this, where to put that.
Yeah, but you know why I do that though? It's because I'm looking at outside of Ottawa.
Yeah.
So to say that like Ottawa has it is not. I don't think so. I think maybe you're talking. Maybe there's one bias and two you're thinking locally a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, because innovation is not happening here whatsoever. Like, it's happening, but the real innovation is happening, I think, either, from my knowledge, in the States is where the most innovation happens.
I wouldn't say innovation. You're right. Innovation isn't happening here, but I think forward thinking, like, I think pushing, like, let's say innovation is the circle. I think expanding the circle is happening here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah.
like for instance, like 11. I don't know if you know 11. Like,
No idea.
I'll send you his music. His shit is super, like, it's so simple. His subject matter is so simple, but it's what he does with it.
Yeah.
Like talking about being with a girl, you know what? Like finding a girl at a club and not being loyal to her. It's what he does with the sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what he does. His beat selection. He doesn't listen to hip hop as much as like you think a rap nigga would.
Yeah.
He really listens
and
to
it's probably
dark.
what makes the best shit. It's when you look
he's
outside.
he's put me on to alternative music that I didn't know. Like even Chanks. Like Chanks listens to like some fucking. He listens to German dub music.
That's fire.
And he makes hip hop music. Like
fire.
this nigga hates hip hop.
It's fire.
I'm so convinced he hates hip hop.
I mean, like the genre is a lot of, like, especially Kanye. Like, you'll see him flip some shit into hip hop that is not hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, fully outside of that.
There was a full
And-
year, like last year, I hated hip hop. I was like, I'm only listening to grime all year, and like I think like grime is super forward thinking. You know what I mean? I really like the way. That's why I say shit is getting back to bars, because them niggas be rapping their asses off.
Yeah.
On fucking.
No, grime has always been barred the fuck out, and the beats are so weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Nigga, the computer ass beats, man.
but,
Video game ass beats.
I still think if it's moving towards something, Kissy Ghost was a moment that niggas have, like.
Is that biased?
It's just like with Yeezus. Oh, definitely. Like, because Kanye has been involved in the evolution of hip hop and rap music since it started, since he came out. Since his first album, he's been pushing that shit.
I love Kanye.
Nigga came out, niggas wasn't flipping soul as much as he was, and then niggas started doing that. Nigga came out, Graduation, synths, for weird electronic shit. Niggas started doing that. Niggas came out, fucking Dark Fantasy was not really. Dark Fantasy was just him showing that he mastered the genre, not really pushing it forward, but pushing it forward in terms of collaboration and seeing what 20 good writers in a room can do when they actually work without ego. Because that album probably has the most fucking production and credits that I've ever seen.
That's probably the best description of Dark Fantasy I've ever heard. I couldn't even have done that.
Yeah, he just said, hey, look, I can make perfect. And he did it. And that's how he describes it. That's why he doesn't like it as much as he likes Yeezus. Because that's him saying, here, I know what I'm doing.
I can give everybody what they want.
Let me show you. And then it's every hip hop heads, that's in their top 5 list. 100%.
Yeah. That's my favorite album of all time.
Exactly.
So.
And 808s was like, 808s took a long time for niggas to catch up, but it still did because it was hard beats, hard ass fucking beats, and then a nigga mourning over some shit.
Such a good album.
And an auto-tune fully drowned in it. And then now what's going on? That's what's going on. Hard ass beats with niggas emo rap, basically.
Yeah.
Fucking Yeezus. Fully industrial, like electronic weird shit. You can say Travis took that and refined it with Days Before Rodeo and shit. Fucking what else he dropped? Life of Pablo. That was kind of a transitional moment because he was just
a lot of Christian shit was on that. A lot of subject matter. But like,
transitional.
but that's what I'm saying with Kanye is like, do you think that what's his role in this? Because a lot of his albums you can accolade it to who he was, who his top peer was, or his top prospect was at the time.
I deadass believe Kanye's like Jesus, bro.
Okay, because like
like
look at
I
this.
fully believe that.
Like, look at this 808s. You could see how his like top pupil was Kid Cudi. Yeezus, his top pupil was Travis. He was heavily working with him, and then Pablo was Chance.
Niggas just births niggas. With
Fair
every
enough,
album,
fair
he
enough.
just gives birth to a whole
enough.
new site of niggas who give birth to other niggas.
I see he's working with Daniel Caesar right now and Sean Leon. So like, what does I don't know.
From Travis, like getting into that and then being inspired by that, Travis created a whole field of niggas now who do what Travis does. So it's like it all sparked from Kanye, which he took shit from other people too, but it all sparked from him. And the reason why I don't mean Jesus is in like the whole egotistical way. I mean Jesus is in like he'll come here, he'll come say this, everyone shits on him, crucifies him for it. He comes back, and then he's like, I was right. Ascends, everyone's like, oh shit, he was right, and then they start to follow him.
Yeah.
That's happened with every single fucking Kanye album.
I think the one thing that that you miss is that I think he goes back and tries to do it too fast. Like he doesn't.
What do you mean?
Like he doesn't allow himself to get the praise enough. Like let's say like when
he don't care about.
I know, but when he comes back and says, "Yo, I did this," and people start fucking with him, he right away he's onto like, "Yo, like this is next." And niggas start hating on him again. You know what I mean?
And that's, I mean, Jesus, which song? I am a God. As soon as they like him, as soon as they like you, make them unlike you.
That's a bar.
Because kissing people ass is so unlike you.
Facts, I guess. I mean, he did
Fuck
say
that, bro. Fuck the praise, nigga. That's not what he's doing it for. He's doing it for it. The praise is just it just ends. The praise just gives him connections to make the next shit. With that, we're gonna end it because it's fucking late and I have to go home to eat. And this nigga's hungry and tired. Thank you so much for coming. That was a fucking great episode.
That's amazing. I
Jesus
wish I could
Christ.
do that every day. That was great. Like, it was amazing.
Nah, you wouldn't.
I need to learn more about fucking biohacks.
I'll send you some podcasts.
Yeah, I need to learn fucking about 5Gs because it's not just about your phones. I need to know more about waves.
All I'm saying is, bro, it's niggas up there right now, fucking controlling the next 20 years of your life, and you're uninformed about it. You're in the Matrix and you don't know you're in it.
Watched it.
I think that's the worst shit.
Never watched The Matrix.
I never watched it.
That ignorance, you oh my god, you should watch it right now. That would be perfect.
I'll probably watch when I go home.
Because that ignorance, as much as it's like it could be bliss, I think it's still more important to go through the hassle of figuring out that you're in a programmed place. Like everything you do is controlled, my nigga. Like everything you do, niggas are niggas. It's either you're controlling yourself or someone is controlling you. And to start to control yourself, you need to realize that you're being controlled.
It's so easy. Just watch people on the bus home.
Just watch niggas be, bro. Like watch niggas go into a store and just watch niggas be. Like Target, the fucking CEO at Target said that shit. Like my goal is to make sure that when someone comes in with one item in mind, they leave with a full basket. So when you go into Target, everything that is Target is programmed to make sure that when you're leaving, you have a full fucking cart.
Yeah, it's marketing for real. And
so you're either like, it's just like you just gotta watch it, and it's super what's it called, like the hippie woke shit when niggas are like, oh, like wake up, like why? But it's dead ass. It's dead ass, bro.
Yeah.
It's like fully dead ass, like. That shit, like when you're going to buy some shit, what you choose is probably because of some shit that niggas have controlled over the years. It's nigga, like the top 20, I'd say top 1% dictate what the other 99% do with their time.
Remember, you asked in the saying where I see like the world in 10 years. I'm gonna just end it at this. I think that the 1% is definitely gonna explode into more percentage. I think the world's gonna even out because I think the way the environment, the economical structure of this world, and like for us to change, I think the world needs to even out a bunch.
Things are always. I learned that in this. Things are always changing. If there's one thing that's consistent in this realm, in this universe, is that shit is inconsistent. Right. And shit will always be changing. Like right now, we're not in a steady place. We're moving somewhere.
Our cells are dying.
Yeah, we're moving somewhere. Like our body's doing some shit that we don't know. We're just transforming, growing. We're growing beard. My beard's getting longer right now as we speak. My fucking body's disintegrating right now as we speak. Some shit's going. Everything is always changing. So in terms of that, yeah, definitely. But it's probably gonna go back into that eventually. Probably in 100 years and 50 years, it's going to end up going up and down. And no one predicted the internet, but it's what runs shit right now. No one thought the internet was going to come. Niggas thought the world was going to end. And in a way, it did.
Yeah, it did in a way.
I mean, it did because the new world got created. Because now we can talk to niggas from Japan, niggas from Australia if we want
VPNs.
without having
Remember that track I showed you last week?
Which
buying
one?
VPNs.
Oh, yeah.
The dark web.
That's fucking...
That's what...
That's such a nigga track. Oh, my God.
No, I'm telling you, man. That's what the world's going to next, bro.
But, yeah, thank you for watching,
Respect.
everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for not flopping. I expect everyone to flop when I ask him to come on.
I love
for some
this.
reason. But it makes me so happy. Low expectations always give you so much satisfaction.
No
Thank
expectations.
Thank you for... I don't even...
Thank you for...
Yeah, whatever, man.
For the number 4.
24, honey.